Are you a filmmaker with one of these? Or are you like me and have many? Because if you do, you can turn these drives into money printing machines, and it's as easy as a couple snaps of your fingers. Actually, I lied. It's not quite that easy, but if you're a filmmaker with hard drives full of footage lying around, you can turn that footage into passive income. You've probably seen sponsorships on YouTube for story blocks, but rather than give a stock video agency money, what if they paid you instead? Because that's one of the things I do. In fact, in the last 2.5 years, I've made over $7,500 from selling stock footage. And if you've got a camera, doesn't matter if it's a phone, a DSLR, a drone, a mirrorless camera, you can start making money by selling stock footage. Even with the film and video industry kind of hitting a standstill for a bit in 2020, post-production, both in the film and television and commercial world, kind of just trucked along. And part of that is due to the use of stock footage. So a quick run of the numbers here. As of today, I have 1,231 clips available for sale. And since they're pretty much all simultaneously available on Vimeo stock, Adobe stock, Pond5, that actually adds up to more like 5,000 clips available. And in 2020, I sold 138 stock clip licenses for a total of $3,912.39 US. Which, being in Canada, was actually closer to $5,100 Canadian. That's an average of $326 per month. Now, it's not quit your job money, but $4,000 earned over a year while not really doing much else in my day is pretty sweet. And a good portion of that footage was actually produced before I started actively making stock footage. It was just footage from vacations or taking my camera out for fun or just flying a drone around. And I've been able to mine my hard drives and turn them into passive income. So let's answer a few questions about stock footage. No, the more important thing is you know how to use your camera, whatever kind it is. Now, it is true that 4K clips sell for more than HD clips, but I've read like 95% of stock footage sales are still just in HD. So having a 4K clip only kind of future-proofs it a little bit. And if you upload a 4K clip to an agency, they're gonna down-res it to 1080p and offer that as well. So really an HD camera of any sort will work. I've sold time lapses shot on my 10-year-old Canon T2i and slow motion footage shot in 120 frames per second on my Sony a7S Mark II, which only goes up to 1080p. If you know how to frame, light, and direct good content, then even footage shot on a phone will do. If you're a designer or animator, you can also make money just producing animations. For example, I've done a couple of those just experimenting with After Effects. There's no real concrete answer for this. It'll depend on a couple different factors, like the variety of the footage you upload, how much you upload of it, how good it is. For me, it took about 2.5 months from my very first upload to making my first sale. But it's worth noting that 10 really high quality clips are going to make you more money than 100 mediocre ones. Say you upload just 8 clips of seagulls. Could you sell them and make money? Absolutely, I've done it. But you're kind of limiting yourself to a market of buyers who need clips of seagulls, and not everyone is gonna need that all the time. But if you upload clips of seagulls and fish and hands and people doing stuff and aerials, now you're opening yourself up to a variety of people who might need footage of all these different things, and therefore increasing the possibility of making sales. So this is totally dependent on what the buyer is buying. Higher resolutions usually mean more money, but also it comes down to licensing. Is this person buying a 720p license for a little Instagram ad for a limited market, or are they buying a 4K clip for a commercial campaign that's going on broadcast television across the country? If they're buying a broadcast license, they're gonna be spending a lot more, which means you make a lot more. If they're buying something just for a tiny Instagram ad, then you're only gonna make a little bit. I've made sales on clips that have only earned me $1 or less, like these ones. And then I've sold clips that have earned me more than $100 on a single sale, like these ones. But even selling something for a low dollar value can actually help you, because the agency's algorithm for desirable footage will start to put yours higher up. It's been purchased, which means that it is seen as more desirable when those keywords are typed in. So even if you sold something for $1 one time, you might notice then 3 months later it sells again, but for $20, and then again after that for $40, and then again for $1. Like it can range wildly in terms of what you make per sale. So that can actually help you earn more money from a clip over a longer period of time. The truth is, more clips will never sell than those that do. As I mentioned, I have 1,231 clips available, and I have only ever sold 241 licenses. And out of that 241, 148 of them are unique sales. So really, I've only ever sold 148 clips, which means that 88% of the clips I've uploaded have never sold. Now, that doesn't mean that they'll never sell, but they haven't sold yet. Almost anything can sell. The main thing is to make sure that it's competently shot, it's well exposed, and the color is pretty neutral. Things like shaky cam or under and overexposed footage or anything where you can see the rolling shutter should really be avoided. In fact, most agencies will probably just straight up reject it and not sell it. In terms of actual content though, almost anything can sell. Like seagulls. For example, one day my wife and I, Melissa, were out for a walk and there was a tower viewer thing at a park, and I just asked her to walk up and look through it. And that clip has made me more than $100. Or another time she was in the kitchen making lunch and I had my camera out, so I just asked her to like really thoroughly wash her hands. Now, we shot this clip in July 2019 and it sat on the agency sites, never selling. And then in April 2020, I sold it for the first time. You can probably imagine why.
We need to wash our hands.
Wash your hands.
Washing your hands is your first line of defense.
Wash your hands.
And since then, I've sold it 16 more times, making me more than $1,000. Since hand washing became a very trending topic over the past year, that made this clip very desirable. I didn't plan it like that, but it worked out. Perhaps as the pandemic winds down in the next year or so, God willing, it'll sell less. You can create an account and upload directly to the stock footage agencies, or you can go through an aggregator like Blackbox Global that I mentioned earlier. I use Blackbox, and basically what you do is you upload your footage, give it a series of keywords you think apply to it that can help buyers find your clip, and then they distribute it to all the agencies. Now, they're free to use, but they do take a percentage of every sale. There are pros and cons to using them. One of the biggest cons is that it all goes under their account, which means you don't really have control over your footage once it's out there and available for sale. So say you have a clip that you don't want to sell anymore for whatever reason, you gotta actually go to Blackbox and request that it gets taken down and hope that they work easily with you. And because there's many users uploading to the same account, if someone breaks the rules and it slips through Blackbox's approval process, then that can jeopardize the entire account. The main pros are that they centralize everything, which makes uploading very simple. You don't have to upload something 4 times to 4 different accounts. They also have a great collaboration tool. So I work with a couple colleagues regularly on footage, and if we upload something we worked on together, I can divvy up the ownership to their accounts based on whatever percentage we agree upon. So rather than the agency just paying me and then I have to divvy it up to all my colleagues, everybody just automatically gets paid whatever percentage of that clip they own. And if you're not a shooter, you can actually set up an account and just act as a metadata curator. So you can just do keywording and try to help shooters get their clips sold. So it's a great way to actually make money, even if you're not a shooter. So I've sold a bunch of them. Here's just a reel of some of my most profitable clips. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You have to build up a decently sized portfolio of quality clips to make consistent revenue every month. As well, if you're gonna have somebody in the video, make sure you get a release signed, because some of the agencies will just flat out reject it if you don't. They don't want to sell footage of someone's face and then potentially face a lawsuit if that person did not know their footage was being repurposed for a commercial project. I tend not to use faces just out of personal preference because I don't have control over where these will get used. So I tend to shy away from that and do stuff with like hands and aerials and like people's backs. I just try not to highlight really identifiable portions of faces, but if your talent is fine with that, then you get them to sign a release and that's cool, go for it. You should also avoid copyrights and logos. I've done a bit of VFXing for some shots just to remove any identifiable branding, because again, it'll limit the possibility of selling it, because somebody does not want a Coca-Cola logo splattered in their commercial when they don't have the license to use that logo or sell that product. Do your best to make it just as clean as possible. So basically, stock footage is a great way to monetize the gear you've purchased already, footage you may have already shot, and footage you're going to shoot in the future. So dig through those dusty old hard drives and turn those files into cash.